Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another Last Epoch dev stream. As usual, I'm your host, Mike. Hi. How's it going, everybody? We're hanging out. We're playing some Last Epoch. I'm still jamming on this. Oh yeah, we died at the very end. still jamming on this Beastmaster here. Having some fun. Welcome. If this is your first time here, we stream for charity. Boom, right above my head. And we do cool stuff like talk about Last Epoch. And I answer your questions about Last Epoch. So if you have any questions, please put at Last Epoch game, and I will be doing my best to answer as many of those as possible. Thank you very much, Heavy, coming in with the 37-month resub. Woo! That's wild. Thank you very much. All of the keys for Mike. This one too. Int. Oh! And Tahario with 38. My goodness. Woo! Putting up some big numbers today. We do have a little, just a little preview of what's coming today. We're going to be talking about the boss DR system. Been a hot topic lately, so we're gonna pull back the curtain a little bit later. A little preview. But until then, get the party started with some other questions. Like, will my scorpion survive? Probably not. Alright. Mike, this is an important question. I'm judging you. Alright, I'm ready. What are your MTG colors? I'm black red. Also, I'm glad you liked the Beard song. Yeah, that was fantastic. that was a good start to the day. I really appreciated that. I'm like so all over the place when it comes to magic colors. I've been I'm going up to a buddy's house where we're doing a bachelor party in our 30s, which means we're just gonna be playing Magic all weekend. Yeah, so I've been like shoring up my decks and putting some finishing touches on them and everything. I've got 2 cards I'm gonna go to the card store and buy. They're like 40 Z cards each. I'm like, I just need to finish this meme deck. I would say overall I'm red blue. That'd be my go-to. If I can only play one pairing from here on out, is it for sure. Like, as a kid, I was like, Counterspell and Lightning Bolt are the best 2 cards in Magic. Let's make a deck. Alright, attention sir, this is your weekly character sheet rework reminder. Thank you very much. That's exactly what mono blue player would say. So I just built like my first mono blue deck in forever. I'm like, all right, so we're gonna build. And this is all just like stuff I'd line around. So like, okay, I'm gonna build this mono blue mill deck, and it's gonna be this Goshen Eye of Wisdom Shrine, which is one of 6 cards in Magic, one of 6 creatures in Magic that have no creature type. Shrine is an enchantment type, and there are only 3 blue enchantments shrines, and it thrives off the number you have. I only have 2 of them, so it's a terrible deck. Gonna be fun. Anyways, back to Last Epoch. You teased some love for Fire Aura. Is Aura of Decay getting the same treatment? I mean, not the same, because we different problems require different solutions. They are similar, but the things that are keeping them from like really shining are I think different animals. partially because one of them is an active skill and one of them's not, so like they kind of sit in different ecosystems. Magic. What about Digimon TCG? I missed that one. Never played it. I saw on Discord you were replying that Arena isn't planned currently to be endgame farming activity. Can you explain why team wants that instead of making it more interesting with adding more mini bosses, meaningful rewards like preserving leaderboards, while preserving leaderboard aspects, especially since people ask for more endgame. I mean, it's so the arena is one of the endgame activities. I don't know. It's just not. I guess the core. How do I put this? We want the arena to be part of the end game, but we don't want the arena to, I guess, be a clear-cut, like, really successful way. Like, if you're into min-maxing, we don't want the arena to be one of the like the best mathematically ways to get very high-powered gear very quickly. That might be a more accurate way of putting it. Are there any changes you can talk about coming to arena mode next month/cycle? There's not a lot with arena that's changing next cycle. The arena's not a huge focus of the next update. We're much more focusing on Pinnacle boss and the adjoining systems to the Pinnacle boss, like the lead up to it and such. And that's the primary focus for next cycle. There's definitely like lots of other stuff sprinkled in here and there and everywhere type thing, but the main focus for it is the Pinnacle boss and the surrounding systems. Any updates on minion tooltips coming 1.1? Not so much as DPS, if that's what you're hoping for. Sorry. Did you catch the D4 campfire chat? It's like queued up, and I have a like list of like, oh, I gotta watch this document or YouTube videos. It's always sort of getting the list always seems to be growing, not shrinking. But it is the most recent thing I've added to that list. I haven't watched it yet. No. If not, they are making uniques purple. How does that make you feel? I like uniques. Uniques are brown. The way it's always been, or like brownie orange. You know, that's like a Diablo mainstay, isn't it? Am I crazy? I know they're doing. So I guess yeah, uniques and legendaries are different things. I always get that flipped because we have it flipped from them. Also, Bee Shrine. Love it. Our little bee friends and our bee shrine. I think purple's a great color for like really high tier stuff. I think purple's like ingrained as like a high tier color stuff from lots and lots of games. Which was why it was so natural for us to pick as well. For our exalted, not unique. Alright, if there was a bard class in game, what kind of music would the character play? Would one genre be polka? I'm asking for a friend. I wonder which friend that is. I feel like it would be more simplistic. Like I can't imagine they'd have a ton of time to like, you know, make and invent musical instruments so much, like with such sophistication as you kind of need for polka, like really need for polka. That's what I imagine you needing. My knowledge is so limited on that topic. I feel like it could be more like channeling the Renaissance Fair type music, we might guess. Player's been ambushed. Egads! Frenzy totem activate. Ah! That was a close one. Got him. Got him. Alright. What is the beverage of the day? I'm drinking a raspberry bubbly. Sparkling water with a touch of flavoring. Passive. Finish this off. We're gonna head down here, possibly. Oh, here's good too. This node's really handy. At the same time, I'm like, yeah, this node just seems so good for us. That much less so, but I feel like we kind of gotta go for this. Glyphs. They make Uber Uniques purple, not all Uniques. Okay, yeah. If you want Mike to answer your question, you should at me. Yes, yes. Put at Last Epoch game in the question if you'd like me to see it. I will skip over it otherwise. I'm sorry. I'll go back. Can you elaborate on what's the Light Before the Dark race event is? I actually, like, not a matter of not wanting to, I actually can't. Because I don't know. I've had my head so like just focused on getting stuff done for this patch that like I've been ignoring all of the extra stuff, and like I found out about that event when someone asked about it in the Ask the Des channel. No idea. And I like once I saw it, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait. I'm not even gonna ask. I'm just gonna like wait and see what happens. I have no idea, but I am likewise excited to find out, because I think the concept of like a lore race is very cool, and I know there's a few, like, I'm not sure how it's gonna work, but I know there's a few things we've been working on behind the scenes that would make something like this be possible for what I think it could be. I know it's super vague, so because I'm speculating what it actually is myself, but like I don't know. I think there could be some. I'm excited to see what they do with it. We'll see. I think it's gonna be fun. Do you have any plans for Shaman, new ability, or work on tree? Yeah, like there's nodes coming in for passives. There are no completely new abilities being introduced in 1.1. So like some abilities got like some pretty significant changes on various classes, but there's no like, hey, here's a new skill. But yeah, like there's more connections we're making between some of the active abilities. You know, some bug fixes here and there on some of the totems. Some passives got updates. No, so there's stuff that's gonna be fun. All right, next question. Am I going to survive this? Yes. Do you have? Oh, can you describe the process of actually fighting the Pinnacle boss? Not so much. Probably not. Like, where is it? Do you need mats for it? Are there different corruption levels for it, etc.? Okay, so I can answer like one and a bit of those questions. So where is it? I can't really tell you right now, because it kind of, well, you'll have like you'll once it's unlocked, you'll have easy access to it. Like it's not there's no like trek to get there from a waypoint or something. Like there's a waypoint like right outside the door, and it's like there's the door is like right outside another waypoint that you probably already have unlocked type thing. Like, so it's not it's not out of the way. So yeah, physical access is easy. You do have to unlock it via a process of some other things that lead up to it. So you have to unlock it. Once it's unlocked, very easy to do. And the way you unlock it is right on the normal path. So like you're not going super far out of the way to find it. It's like it's smooth. I don't know how to. There's probably a term for this. It flows nicely. It's natural. What else? What else is in here? You need mats? Yeah, you need things that you get in the process of unlocking it. But yes, like there's a key. You can't just like, if you physically can run up to it, open the door. No, you need a key. And are there different corruption levels for it? No. So this is a static difficulty content. So what this means is, no matter what level you are, no matter what your corruption is, no matter where you are in the game, no matter what you do, the boss fight's the same for everyone. It's the same difficulty. It's the same moveset. It is static difficulty content. There's a lot going on in the fight. But it does not change based on corruption. If it did, it would be like, it wouldn't really be, there'd always be, no matter when you fought it, there'd always be a harder version of it, you know? Because you could always just up the corruption. Well, that's one of the big things we when we're designing this content. So there's like different things, different reasons we put different content into the game. And one of the core things we want out of this content is to be that that benchmarking content where you can say like, oh hey, I beat this boss. This build can beat this boss type thing. So that is important to have. Right. Stream 2 of asking as politely as possible for search option. Only T6s, only T7s, please. Much love to the whole team. I can't promise anything, but if you'd like to see it, the best place to ask for it is on the forums, because I don't take any suggestions from the streams ever. Can you elaborate on? I cannot elaborate on that. Oh wait, this was the re-ask. Someone told me to message. I went back. Yes, got it. I'm with you. I'm back on track. Do you guys plan on adding sounds to the mood filter in future? This is a really tough one. We've gone back and forth internally on this a few times. We don't currently have active plans to do this. Still fighting for it though. Hey Mike. When new releases are approaching, besides the typical last week where you start delivering a piece of info about every day to generate hype, do you guys plan to do more sort of Twitch streams to present the news live to the community or something like that in the future? Well, I think the big documents generally do better as a post, rather because then it can be like directly referenced and like instead of having to like scrub through a video and listen to what someone says a few times and maybe it's like misspeaking and things like that. I do try to be very careful with the way I talk and things I say to make sure it's precise. But every once in a while I say like I'll add a plural to something and be like, oh no, which I did a month back. Sorry. That's why that example comes to mind. Yeah, I mean, we do this stream every week, so that's going to continue. I'd really like to do more variants on these streams, like get more guests in. Those have always been really well received. So I'm hoping to, in the like, maybe the first couple weeks or like the week before even of the patch, getting some guests on. That's what I'm gonna do. Personally. The streams I really like having someone to talk to on stream, like the times we did the podcast and some of the interviews with like with whole bunch of different people. It's been they've flown by. They've just been like, you blink and they're over. They're a lot of fun. Will Shadow Daggers get nerfed to 1.1? Shadow Daggers Rogue might be my favorite way to play a rogue character in any video game, but it's really, really strong. Yeah, I mean, you know, if you're seeing, I think there's a lot of builds that are getting nerfed. There's a lot of builds that are getting buffed, and even builds that get nerfed will get buffed in other ways too. So like, it's not always just about straight buffs, and it's not always just about straight nerfs. So we're doing buffs and nerfs on basically everything. And the things you see really standing out super strong, that are hitting these kind of insane corruption numbers are going to be brought back to reality a bit. To be fixed, no problem. Don't apologize. It's totally fine. You're good. No worries. Alright, with some Beastmaster builds making use of Eterra's Blessing casts on their companions for the companion skill reset, is there any possibility of the skill receiving some way to restrict targets to companions or otherwise auto-target them? Because while the builds that function well, they're extremely hindered in multiplayer by the presence of other allies. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I think that's a, if, I think that would be a good way to restrict it. Because I know we get suggestions sometimes of like oh, can we target the portrait frames in the top and things like that. There's some issues there, but yeah, I think that's probably a good way to do it, is putting it in the actual skill tree node, where it's like attach it to some buff that's already there about minions. Like, there's probably some node that's like, if you use this on a minion, it gets this extra thing. Well, I mean, it already does that anyways, but like, it gets the increased size. But restricting the targets to the minion is yeah, like something like that right there. Yeah, I can see it going on that node, right? I think that's like that, if you're gonna, yeah, that's not very far out of the way. It's not like a mandatory thing behind it. It's a pretty basic node already. I would probably put it there. That's what I would do. I think if we're gonna do that. Probably want to check the other nodes first just to be safe, but gut reactions right foot, I think. We get a lot of questions about itemization in the community. Some players are wondering why there aren't more generic uniques. Can you give us a slight peek into the design theory of uniques and your goals for them? I mean, yeah, so I think the uniques get generated fairly organically. It might be a bad way to put it. They get generated largely in isolation from each other, I think is a good way to put it. So there's like someone comes up with an idea for a unique, and it doesn't really matter too much what the other uniques, like there's consideration for other uniques of like, okay, what else is in the slot, what are the uniques, what other abilities like overall interact with this in certain builds, stuff like that. But like there's I think rarely we take a step back and look at our like pantheon of uniques to see the distribution of the styles and things like that. So I think it sort of naturally ends up being a little bit more of a shift towards more specific uniques, just because it's a lot easier, especially when we're adding in like lots of uniques frequently come with a new mechanic or a new ability, and when new abilities come to the game and new uniques come with them, I think it's really I think it makes a lot of sense for us to be making those uniques for that ability that's entering the game, because you know, there's so many other uniques that have been built up for every other ability throughout over the years, that having that like initial burst makes it so they don't feel like they're left behind really bad. And I think that's happened a few times in a row where like we've released a patch and we're like, okay, we got room for like 15, 20 uniques, but we've got 15, 20 abilities. Not that bad in some cases, but like we've got a bunch of new abilities. We've got 5 new abilities, and so it's like maybe 2 uniques per ability, and suddenly you're at that's at least half of the uniques we're going to put in the patch are specific to new abilities, and you get other abilities that come in. I mean, there's not a hard limit on how many uniques can be in a new patch, but like 20 is roughly about where we normally land. So it's I think and I think you end up with like a lot of times really interesting things when you can be a little more narrow on topics. So like just getting when you restrict where it's useful, I think you can be a little bit more wild in what it can do. It's probably a combination of like 8 things, and then also like supporting uniques come in. We're still doing those, and those are still like on the backlog of those. Those are almost always very narrow in like a good way. People have like a really specific playstyle that they're trying to like enable and get into the game. It's something that they really love, and those are the best ones. So I think long-term goals for uniques is just like more options, more of everything, more generic ones, more specific ones, more everything in between, more and more and more. And there will come a time where there's like too many almost, so we gotta be careful about that too. But you know, right now I think we're pretty far from that when you look at other games in the space and how many uniques they have. And I think you can also look at other games too, as like for examples of how things can go as well, because like you like look back at like Diablo 2 for example. There's like the uniques that are actually used and useful. There's so few, and I think uniques are the ones that are used are just like really powerful for just like everything, and then like a few that are really specific. So like you get Nightwing or something like that. That's really specific just for cold swords and things like that. And it's like you know, there's a few of the really narrow ones, and then a few of the really generic ones, Shaco and things like that. And there's not really that many that get used. And I think with more narrow options that we have, we end up with a bigger variety of things that get used at all. Just because people, especially while leveling, will be like, oh, here's a unique specific for this one ability I'm trying to, and you can, those uniques get slipped into those builds, which I think is really good. More and more variety, more cool stuff. All right, Mike, did you know that you have a famous doppelganger? I don't. Wouldn't I be the doppelganger of the famous person? Who is it? Someone super cool, I know that. Possible Forge Guard rework or potential for one in the future. I mean, I think they're like, I think there's a lot of things that Forge Guard does really right, and we're definitely taking like there's things we're adding into it this patch. There's things that I think they'll be improving it, make it feel even better. I think there's a couple skills that could use a rework on Forge Guard, but for the most part, I don't think the entire class needs like a back to the drawing board type thing. I think the theming is really strong. I think the overall abilities play really well. I think there's, you know, just a few key issues. I think it's a lot closer to being a lot of fun than it seems. There's definitely some tech that's missing to make it really shine. I keep hitting. You can't hear it, but I keep hitting the spacebar. I've hit the spacebar like, I don't know, 100 times this stream already, trying to roll, trying to just like activate the evade. I'm like, perfect time to evade, and I'm like, oh wait, I have to walk. It's already like ingrained in me. I think we're just gonna come for this. Yeah, we're just coming for this now. Will you make Avalanche great again? I'd love to. I also hate to, because Avalanche is the bane of my existence when coming up against it. Yeah, I think Avalanche has some cool stuff. I don't think there's any major updates for Avalanche planned this patch, but I think it's it needs some love. Apologies if you've already answered this point, all right. But I've noticed traversal skills seem to get caught on inclines. This can be fixed in 1.1. There's a lot of different reasons why a lot of different traversal skills get caught in a lot of different situations because they behave a little bit differently for all of them. It is something we've been working on. The reliability of movement in general has been a sticking point for us for a long time. And it is something that we are actively working on. Apologies if this has been asked. Once again, totally fine. But do you know how soon before the patch cycle will you release the patch notes? It'll just be a few days. So we usually do, leading up to the patch, there's Hype Week. And so during Hype Week, there's like each day we release a dev blog post that has, has details on one specific thing. So like, I don't know what they're all going to be this time, but I assume they're going to be things like, hey, here's the Nemesis system, and we'll go into detail on how that works and how you can interact with it, what you'll see, and all stuff like that. It'll be like next day, like maybe here's the Harbinger system, and go into details on that, everything you can expect to see with that, and then next day maybe the Pinnacle's boss and some details on that, but maybe a little bit shy on some of the details so you can experience it firsthand, like exactly what'll happen, and then. A little once all the major dev blogs have come, then we do patch notes, and it's got all the details like, oh, this ability is getting buffed by that much. All right, in that case of no scaling, are you currently planning Uber variants of bosses or just progression? So we already do kind of do the like boss progression with empowered versions of bosses. This one, the version that's launching on 1.1, the Pinnacle boss that's coming in 1.1 will have one difficulty setting. I think having Uber bosses in the future and like combo bosses and all these sorts of intense like hyper challenges are like on the table for future content. 1.1 will have, we're coming up with this Pinnacle boss, and the Pinnacle boss will be that one difficulty for that one Pinnacle boss for 1.1. There are like things leading up to it. It's not just walk in, you fight the boss. Like there's other content you have to do first before you're allowed to fight the boss. Alright. Serpent Strike has a node that summons a Primal Serpent. Yes, it does. Would this be considered a talisman skill? If talisman skills existed in game, how would you envision them? Envision some other primalist talisman. What animals would be used? Base this question on the lore master. I have no idea. I have no idea. I feel like just getting more, because like, so there's the like aspect nodes, maybe channeling those in some way I think could be cool. Yeah, I don't know, I'm sorry, I don't have a good answer to this one at all. Every once in a while I get stumped. I'm throwing the towel. When will the game be available on consoles? Do you think you losing players with PoE 2 and D4 both platforms? Cheers. I think we have to have our PC version rock solid before we start getting into console stuff. We are like there's a lot of things that have to happen to get the game released on a console. that we haven't started yet. Just like there's standards you have to adhere to for specific consoles. There's like whether or not it can be paused, and there's all sorts of little things like maximum memory usages and all these things like that need to be met in order to get onto a console. And personally, I've never released a console game myself. There's other people on the team that have. So we're still in very early days of, you know, like looking at relationships with those companies to get Epoch onto consoles. But we're still a ways out from that, I think. All right, hi Mike. Thanks for the assist ping there, Heavy. When will the game be available? Oh, it's hi Mike. Will there be a passive leveling system after reaching level 100 in the future? For example, the Paragon system V3, since they dedicated much time and effort for the safety of Eterra and leveled up 13 masteries to level 100 plus, level 91, level 83 in this cycle. When can I expect my unique ring? Ring of real learning. With the 10 to 25% increased XP mod. Thanks in advance. That is quite the achievement. That is a lot of extremely high level characters. So wow. We don't really have any plans for leveling up like a D3 Paragon style system. Characters hitting max level is we really view that as an achievement unto itself. Just one character hitting max level. That's not something that we're really expecting most players to do, and because of that, locking a system behind it doesn't really make a lot of sense. We do want there to be like endgame farming systems, like endgame. I don't remember the wrong word, but like a system where you can progress, keep progressing behind the scenes, like through endgame, and have it be exciting and interesting. The way the passive system works inherently, it becomes less and less exciting to get passive points as you put points in once you get past around level 75, 80-ish. And we're really happy with how the passive system's working and what it's bringing to the table. But because of how it's linked to level and all that, having a system that gets tied, a passive progression system. And oh my goodness, stumbling so much on this. I'm trying to say is factions. That's where I'm going with all this. I'm trying to say factions in a really long-winded way. We feel factions more fit that role, and as we get more factions into the game, and as the faction systems get fleshed out more, and you know, fix the issues that we have with them. First passive, which is happening in 1.1, and we're going to keep updating 1.2 and keep adding more as we get through to 3, 4, 5, and all that sort of stuff. So you know you're gonna see updates to that continuing, and that type of in-game progression system to get cool stuff is probably gonna come more from the faction system than it is from a system that's tied to one. Give us Reimer to talk about all the cool news. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Hey Reimer, you wanna come join me next time? Talk about some cool nodes, huh? He's probably not listening. It's quite late. That is part of the problem. It's like he's in Europe, so it's the middle of the night. Hi, Mike. Oh yeah, I didn't say that. Yes, I went back. Hi, Mike. Hello, Mr. Fibble. Fibble. I always love your name and ruin your name, and I realize right after every single time. I'm sorry. Hi, Mike. Do you know if there are any plans for future cosmetics via Twitch drops? Yes. As of today, I believe we got new info. Are we here? Fastest way to cheat this on to the screens this way. Here we go. Here is the we just posted this on our various everythings. So if you want Twitch drops for the patch. Oh, I'm being told right now we're changing the way we're doing Hype Week this patch. Oh, this is for 2 hours on any one day as well. I should mention. So if you watch any of the related streams for 2 hours on any one of these days, you get these cosmetics. It's a pet and a cape. So I'm getting extra information tossed at me right now live. All right, Hype Week, we're actually condensing it into fewer, larger posts, and then the patch notes. So it's going to come faster and bigger, I guess. All right. Any love coming for Volcanic Orb in Cycle 2? Been asking for literal years. I don't have any specific details on what's coming up for Volcanic Orb next cycle, but I don't think it's unreasonable to have it see something. We'll see what happens though. Oh, yeah, and we're changing the way we're doing Hype Week because of your feedback. Speaking of feedback, if you've been playing Last Epoch for a while, and I feel like most of the people here probably have, not all, but most, and you haven't bothered to go on over and drop a review yet, however you want it, I would encourage you to check out that opportunity now. As long as I don't die. Haha. Right. Since 1.0 of Last Epoch, how has this launch permanently changed the dynamic structure and outlook of EHG from what the company was before? I mean, we've definitely we're growing in size. We're hiring more people, more like crazy talented people have been applying for jobs, which is so cool. And so we've been getting more developers, more artists, more designers, more other types of artists, because there's so many different types of amazing specialized artists. I think we've managed to increase our pipeline size a little bit, just as an attempt to get more content out faster, and better content out faster too. I know things that like I recently just took one of my hats off and gave it to someone, which I was so happy for. Ah, you're doing a great job. Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Just like you like after the game launched, there's just like so many more eyes on it that people who are both like talented game development professionals and just love video games suddenly see the game and are like, hey, that sounds like something cool I might like to do. And you're like, yes, come do this with us. It is cool. You would like to do it. I don't hate that. Yeah, I do hate that though. No room. How about now? Aha! One more stash tab. Oh, oops. Always one more stash tab. We just clear this whole one. We could almost have the entire Ability done. Right. I'm very excited, very excited about Cycle 2. Cycle 1 had a very rough start. How are you guys better prepared for a huge popularity with Cycle 2? I mean, a ton has changed. Like server backend wise, the code that runs the server, that runs the networking stack, that runs all the adjacent systems. So much of that has been updated and improved, and we had done a lot of artificial testing before, but we had never had 265,000 people playing simultaneously. So like, artificial tests are great, but they don't always tell the whole story. Like a unit test can only do so much, and we definitely learned a ton and have put so much of that into action. There's an entirely new networking stack that the game's running on now compared to what it was then. We're not done either. So like 1.2 will be even better than 1.1, and we're just gonna keep improving it. But yeah, it's woo. Sneeze there. This might. Oh, I should have done this before boss. Okay, well, Harbinger Stars, sweet. We're so not a crit build though. We're like so the opposite of the build that wants this. Okay, when I get to the boss, I'll show you. I'll talk about it because we do have some exciting news about boss DR and what we're doing about that. I'm actually going to share with you the details. When we get to the boss fight, I'll go a little deeper on it. Don't forget to put @Last Epoch game in the question if you'd like me to answer. I just scrolled past a huge chunk, and I'm assuming there's nothing in there. About how many new uniques will be added in 1.1? I'm not 100% sure. We're still adding them, is the funny part. So there's still a couple more getting sprinkled in. I think we're in and around our usual amount. But I haven't counted them. Comfortably double digits, though. I'll say that with confidence. And definitely not triple digits. That in place Fury Leap with a Frenzy Totem down, getting all of the all the spines that come up, yeah, actually does decent. It's important stats. What are your views of the Rogue or one of its masteries to have Vanish or Stealth skill? This is a really interesting topic, and we've like talked about having like a disengage, a stealth, a vanish, something like that, quite a bit, and it's really difficult to make it play nice, make it play well, especially in it just doesn't, the playstyle doesn't fit super well in an ARPG, and we've kind of tried to emulate that feeling and the thematics of what's going on a little bit with Smoke Bomb. That's how Smoke Bomb was born. Actually, we're trying to make a vanish or a disengage type ability, and Smoke Bomb's what came out of that that design discussion. That was quite a while ago. I don't know if there's always these old topics where we've worked on something and that's how we came up with, it's what worked, yada yada yada, and then 4 years goes by. And all of a sudden, there's a bunch of new things you can do in the engine because we keep building little things for other skills, and we're like, oh my god, this works now type thing. There's a unique staff that's in the game that originally was being designed. It was supposed to try and be an unarmed weapon, and about 2 years after that, we made our first, maybe even longer, we made our first unarmed weapon in a pair of gloves. So nothing yet, but maybe soon. I see someone asked Steam Deck verification on the menu. We're working on it. We are working on it. I don't think we've quite got that checkmark ready yet. But I know we've like submitted a few builds for checks and things like that. So it is in development. I don't think it's quite there yet. With regards to factions, based on what you just said, will future factions be attainable alongside the current two, or is it intended that you only ever affiliated with one at a time? We do intend that you will obtain and track multiple factions simultaneously. This is something we've talked about before, but I think only on stream, so I'm not surprised that it's not just ever. But like, here's the diagram I usually draw. So like, if you've got the one box of you got NG and you got COF, and then and you have to pick one of those two, and they're mutually exclusive. And then maybe you've got another one over here that's like RPR1, and you've got here that's like FG3, and they're mutually exclusive with each other. I'm just putting random things in here. Please don't try and figure out what that is, because I don't know. And then maybe you've even got another one in here that's like HBG4. I don't know. And so like you can pick like, I'm gonna be you come through and you're like, okay, well I'm gonna play COF, and I'm gonna play PG1, I'm gonna play, and you get this one as well. So like you get all three of these and you track them all individually, and you're like, oh okay, well I actually don't want COF, I'm gonna switch over to this one, that's fine. And like they all exist in their own like little ecosystems almost. Started adding the numbers in so it would be more ridiculous. I don't know why I started labeling them at all. Alright, will the further development of factions in the future, could we see leaning towards more PoE Atlas style experience with like factions tree and such? It's possible. We did design the UI for it to be I guess to be more of a separate UI that tracks all the faction stuff independently with like we've got UI set up for it. You'll see it eventually. Oh, Reimer, you're here. Yeah, come join me on stream. That'd be cool. Not right now. This one's charity. Oh, no. Any chance you guys ever stop using Unity? Kind of feels like a lot of the performance stuff is tied to using an engine not made for RPGs. No? Switching an engine off, like, to a completely different engine right now, are you guys okay if we take, like, a 2-year break from releasing content? Like, probably not. I don't think switching engines is really feasible for us. We've been working on an engine upgrade, like so a new version of Unity. It's gonna help with a lot of things. You know, I fairly frequently get asked the question like, hey, if you could go back and do it again, would you avoid using Unity? Would you have used something else instead? If you could, if you had the, like, knowing what you know now, going all that stuff. I genuinely think the answer is no. Mostly because, like, I don't know if we would have managed to get this far without Unity in the first place. And so it's, and then at the same time, it is also just kind of too late to switch and have that be a reasonable idea to do. That's it? That's all the questions? I actually caught up midstream. Love it. If I missed one, cause, and you want to ask it again, please put at Last Epoch game. Last Epoch 2 on a new engine? Yeah, there you go. Am I standing or sitting down? I am standing. My hand is, the palm of my hand is flat on the ceiling right now. You can see how bent my arm is still. This is my hand is just touching the ceiling. It's right there. Several times I've accidentally punched it, getting excited. Like something happens, I'm like, yeah, I did it! Just boom. Who's your favorite SG1 character and why is it Teal? I've been asked this before. I love Teal. Christopher Judge did such a good job. No, my favorite character is O'Neil. It's just his I don't know, aloofness really clicks for me. But the whole gang's great. Carter, runner-up. She wrote and like directed a bunch. I don't know if she wrote. She directed, I think, a bunch of Travelers, which was also fantastic. She was in it as well. Time for a spoiler vote. So today I've got we're not doing little things this week. I've got one really big thing for you this week. Yeah, here, well, I was gonna do it right as I get to the boss fight. I was gonna use the boss fight to explain it a little bit. Sorry, I haven't been following the updates for a while. That's all right. Will there be an update about ADR? We change and move to stay the same. It's like we're talking about like adaptive, the boss reduction, boss DR. Yes, if you look at the title of the stream, I'm going to talk about that today. Yeah, we are removing it. I guess we can just talk about it now. Adaptive boss damage reduction is getting cut for 1.1. It will no longer be something that exists in Last Epoch. So the big feedback we've been getting a lot with it. I guess we can go over some goals first and then talk about feedback. So one of the goals of a system like this that we have is, you know, having the bosses not just be insta-deleted, while also not having the, while slightly reining in the difference between a, oh my god, WTF epic OP build and, hey, look what I built in my spare time for fun type builds. Well, thank you very much for the sub. Loco John DK. Thank you. Might be interested in this. And so yeah, so that's the main things the adaptive boss DR is doing. And how, let's talk about, I guess, how it does that. So how it does that is by it gives the boss a bunch of damage reduction to start. So you like boss spawns in and has a bunch of damage reduction. And then just straight multiplicative DR. And as time passes, where you are not dealing damage to the boss, that just falls off. That erodes, that fades away. So it's vanishing, disappearing, and eventually it'll just get back to normal, just normal flat damage. And then anytime you are spent damaging the boss, depending on how fast you're damaging the boss and how much you're damaging the boss, it will gain more DR. So the boss will, as you hurt it more, it takes less damage. As you hurt it less, it takes more damage. Pretty simple. It is built in such a way that the fastest way to kill a boss is by just killing the boss. There's no like, oh, slow DPS here to get a slingshot boost and kill it real fast. Like it reacts instantly, mid ability and everything. So it's like there is no really gaming the system, which is good. But at the same time, it does leave people where they're like, oh, okay, this, like they go to a test and they're like, oh, this meteor hits for 10,000 damage. Then you go to a boss and oh, this meteor hits for 1,000 damage. Great. That's awesome. And there's this that feeling has been we've been getting a lot of feedback on that feeling being not so awesome. So we are really looking at replacing the system with something that achieves the same goals, makes the boss fights more interesting, more dynamic, and still lets your numbers be big. Still lets you really have a good feeling of, hey, I got this new sword, it does more damage, and now I do more damage and I kill the boss that proportionally faster too. So like, we are when we do remove adaptive boss damage reduction, we are replacing it with something else. I want to stand in this. I want my dude back. Could just kill them. So what are we replacing it with? We figured it would be best to replace it with something that is that leverages existing in-game systems already for defenses. Something that is really easy to communicate to the player what's happening, how it works, what's going on, all that sort of stuff. Where there's not really a hey, why isn't my damage why is my damage nerfed so much? And then they have to go look in the game guide, find out why this is happening, or they go to the forums and things like that. And it's this confusion point, and it's just it doesn't feel good, and it's oh, okay, then this is can I do anything to play around this to play better? Oh, and then you find out no, I can't. And it's it doesn't feel good. The whole experience kind of sucks right now, and so we're trying to target that feeling and bring back the boss fights in general to be a little more fun, just from switching that system up. Brief pause for some questions to catch up on. Favorite Star Trek? Voyager, for sure. Your item in game currently? I mean, I love the silly stuff, so probably the spoon. If there was one thing you were allowed to change about LE, no questions asked, what would it be and why? Weapon swap? You'd have 2 weapons. You'd build swap weapons. I've still got a version locally that I can do it. Ha! None of you can have it. Is there a way to find out what the secondary elemental types are for each class, like how Mage and Void are secondary? I would say Mage and Void is tertiary, because it only exists in items. But I mean, just come in here, if you see it on 3 or fewer abilities, if you see a little icon on 3 or fewer abilities, I would call it a secondary element for that class. And if you see it on none, but it's possible to get, tertiary. The campaign story has been completed, hasn't been completed yet. Is what I think this meant to say. Since you like Legend of Zelda series, could we battle against our shadow self, our void self in the future? I mean, I think that's on the table, and we've kind of pulled elements of that in a little bit ish with the arena champions and the Forgotten Knight's kind of got some visuals of that there, and then also the exiled mages feel a little bit like that. And there's some other stuff that's coming too soon that will have that theming even stronger. So yes, keep an eye out. All right, about permanent CC on bosses. Yep, that's we're also addressing permanent CC on bosses. If you're there's a threshold, but if you're epic enough, you can still do it. But we're definitely restricting it a lot more. Yeah. I do have a little clip to show you where it does permanent CC the boss, but I would preface this with this is the absolute epic diss out character possible. Yes, that's a word as of now. Are you confident that your endgame endgame additions next cycle will be enough to keep the player engaged after the campaign? I mean, I think it's going to improve it. I think there's going to be lots of cool new stuff to do. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a significant improvement over what we have currently. And I mean, everyone's a little bit different on how much they like to play. Yeah. All right. You appreciate Voyager with the TNG. I would say TNG close second. TNG is the only other one that I will that I've rewatched more than twice. Original series is great. It's a little too short, and it was still finding its footing. I think Enterprise gets a bad rap. I think it's better than you remember it. Just fast forward through that intro song. I think the new era is fantastic, and those are all the Star Treks that exist. Sitting on a space station is not trekking through the stars. Oh yes, can I expand on what's actually be replacing the adaptive DR system will be? Absolutely, I'd love to. I've been kind of stalling till I get to the boss fight a little bit here. So I guess I'll just talk about it here. We're using Ward. So Ward is already a system that's built into Last Epoch for having a temporary shield. I think this is a pretty natural option, and anyone who's been following along is probably not very surprised by this. So what's going to happen? They're not showing up. Oh no! Oh no! Wasn't gonna show that right away. That was the little video I've got. There it goes. Okay, so here's an example of what a health bar, an enemy boss health bar, may look like in 1.1. I've got a little clip for you. You can see it in action too in a second. So we'll break down what's happening here. So every boss and almost every mini boss, so not every mini boss, but most of them do have these little pips you see. This little pip, this one, and here's one that's been activated. And so these are like these for Majasa at the end of the campaign, which I still haven't done in this character. These are the four. So there's 4 breakpoints, and so we can pick and choose based on which boss it is, how many breakpoints it has. I can have any number of them really, and as you get their health down to that point, so you're fighting the boss, you get to this point, and it gets it gets a portion of its health back as ward when you hit this point. So you get to this point, and it gets a brief stun, so it does stun the boss when you get to the point, and then it fills up its health bar with ward. And the ward amount right now I think is 75% of its max health. We're still adjusting that, so it's somewhere in the range of 3/4 of its health is probably going to be the amount of ward that it gets, and that might become variable per boss as well. Having it be consistent is probably better in general. And then so unlike normal ward, this ward, the decay rate is inverted from what normal ward is. So normal ward, normal ward is based on the decay of ward is based on the amount of total ward you have. So if you have 10,000 ward, your ward decays faster than if you have 1,000 ward. Bosses are different. When a boss gets ward, its ward decay rate increases with time. So the longer the boss has ward, the faster that ward disappears. So if you have some sort of like a huge combo that you can set up to do a bunch of spike damage, you can do that as the ward is getting low, or as it's like emptying, and then you can spike to the next one if you want. So there's a little bit of counterplay there. There's a little bit of ways you can like actually adjust your play if you really want to min-max your combat mechanics themselves, which I think is a really positive thing to have, especially when it is displayed somewhere that is more intuitive. I have notes. Well, yeah, we can position the breakpoints not evenly spaced if we want. We can put them wherever we want. And a few times we do mess with them a little bit. So sometimes we'll use the breakpoints as also phase change indicators. So it's like you get to this breakpoint, and like there's a phase change that happens at this breakpoint. So it's this really natural, clean break, and it's really obvious what's happening. And then 5 decay rate increases with time. Oh yeah, and then like tankier boss, the rate that the ward decay rate increases at is different for different types of bosses. Thank you, Heavy, very much for the 10 gifted subs to the community. Congrats to anyone who got one of those. That's big. Yeah, I know you've been trying it here. Hope you've been enjoying it. I take it you probably have, given that reaction. Yeah, so like if there's like a really tanky boss, maybe we'll like make the decay rate increase a little bit slower, things like that. And then yeah, so I've got a little video to show you about how this looks in the fight. And so this is kind of two things. One, to just show you how it flows. It's a very short clip. I just want to preface this by saying this character is as like decked out as you can possibly have. It is super mega, super mega. Like this character is epic. And so this is fighting a an empowered 220 corruption. What's it called? A-bomb. It's the A-bomb. So the end of the first monolith, 220 corruption. So it is a beefy boss fight. I don't know if this is playing audio or not. Yeah, so you can see there it's getting ward. Next point, it's getting the ward. There you go. So yeah, this is an extremely buff character. I do this so it gets a full cycle through the clip without anything popping up over top of it. So this is what boss ward is going to look like. So you still can, if you are, this is why I'm pressing this with the perma CC thing, because it is this character is specifically designed to show this extremely quickly, because we're just showing the this boss DR system, or not DR system. Oh my goodness, DR system replacement, the ward system. So this is specifically set up to be happening really quickly and permafreeze this character. It is not a real situation. Cool. All right. Now I'm sure there's a bunch of questions on that. Let's answer some of those. Does the ward decay? The ward does decay. The ward decays naturally, just like ward normally decays, and then as time goes on, it decays faster and faster. So you get a this is where you get that like slight normalization effect. So builds that are doing a little bit less damage overall will get to catch up a tiny bit in this sense. It's not like a huge shift, but it's just like it's a tiny little bit of normalization that happens. But if you've got the deeps, just push through. Will there be a way to pierce the boss ward? I mean, no, it's like you gotta get through the ward. Just like how like enemies have to get through your ward. I guess there is one way that enemies can bypass your wards. But that is % current health damage, so it never kills you. In the Temporal Sanctum dungeon, Julra at some point, how can they manipulate time? Maybe I missed it, but who is they? You are they. We are they. The player character is they. Julra's not really talking to you, they're kind of using to themselves. Alright, assuming you have a build that can theoretically break multiple thresholds, should've been watching the stream a little bit. I.e. an attack on the boss could get it a second ward breakpoint. Would it gain 2 instances of the ward? Well, so like it goes through all of the damage. So if you had one hit that could get from like a breakpoint to like and through the ward from that breakpoint, and then through the health to the next breakpoint, you know, and then it would trigger the second one at the end of that. Yeah, like it applies all the damage sequentially and it works properly. So there's a fixed maximum total health that if you could deal that fixed total maximum health and plus all of the ward breakpoints all in one hit right at the very start, theoretically you could kill it in one hit. But it's a lot. Like it's designed such a way that like it discourages that a little bit, that extreme case, because when you're fighting the boss, it is assumed that there's a little bit of time in that ward decay threshold, that ward decay time, where the decay is helping you speed it up a little bit as well. So you'll almost, unless you're doing that extreme case, you won't ever be doing the maximum amount of total HP and ward combined damage to the boss, because some of it decays naturally. Out of curiosity, why do you as a team feel the game needs a system like this for boss health? I mean, mostly the reasons I went over earlier. There's... Don't die again as you're talking about. You know, there's sometimes a pretty big distinction in boss killing power. And having those bosses, like having them actually do their mechanics and having them actually like play out a little bit and be the boss fight we want them to be is important to us. It's something that we think is important for the game and important for the challenge of completing the dungeon or monolith or whatever they're representing. You know, actually fighting the boss is important. Since Ward will be adjusted, can you please add a new beard blocking mechanic? Sorry, I don't think that'll work well. Does it stun every boss? Seems like every high DPS build will stun lock them every time. The little stun that happens when it does hit one of those breakpoints is like very, very brief. It's more of an interrupt than a stun. In the vast majority of cases, stun locking it's something that we are addressing. What you saw in that clip, I want to reiterate, is a very much extreme case. This is like we went into a build editor and we're like, a character editor and we're like, what possible numbers can we put in here? And I think we just like added the artificial damage button onto that type thing. So it's like. I was a buff character. The goal of giving, the reason why we have such a ridiculously buff character in that video is two things. One is to show that if you are going ham, you can still have these ridiculously powerful builds, and you do scale relative to your content, which I think is something that people want to have. Where you're like, my character is better, so I kill things faster. Like that's a pretty fundamental thing to have happen. And I think a concern about a system like this frequently is, can I still crush stuff quite quickly if I'm very, very, very powerful? The answer is yes. Then also just to keep the clip short. Overall, is the goal for the system to be fairly equal to the old system in terms of how tanky bosses are for any given amount of damage dealt? Relatively similar, yes. Like some bosses will be more tanky, some bosses will be less tanky, some bosses will be more tanky against specific strategies, and some bosses will be less tanky against those specific strategies. So I think it's less of a one-to-one and more of an adjustment. I think personally for me, one of the reasons I really like it so much is that it does inject a little bit of counterplay into the system where players can adjust their playstyle, they can save up cooldowns and things like that to actually affect how fast they can kill the boss if they are really going to min-max it. And then players who aren't going to care that much about that min-maxing side of things are still going to have a fun experience with boss fights. And it's not hiding stuff. It's not hiding stuff behind hidden mechanics. It's there. It's in your face. It's very clear what's happening. So one shiny boss is still prevented due to the nature of how Ward suddenly appears. I mean, it is possible to one shot, but the one shot, the amount of more damage you need relative to now to one shot a boss. It's harder to one shot a boss now, like just straight up one shot it. But it is still possible. It was the exact same thing that killed me last time. Yeah. That's that frenzy totem, I told you to. Mike dies, bingo. Mike, can you please talk more about what was announced about that event? What was announced? If you're talking about the the light before the dark thing. Oh, I've just been told there's actually even more uniques than I thought there was. I think about double last time. I don't know anything more about the event that just got announced. The story race event. I am completely in the dark. I have no idea. How long will next season be? We're aiming still at 3,000 to 4,000. 3 to 4,000. 3 to 4 months. 3 to 4 months is our go-to time for cycles right now. If you want your question answered, you should tag me. Yes, good question. Let's see what that question was. Are you nerfing overpowering items like Twisted Heart? Are you nerfing overpowered build archetype items? Frostbite Shackles and Snowdrifts. I don't have any specific details on what's getting nerfed or buffed. I will say that there is a there's tons of nerfs and buffs all over the place. Builds that were previously able to reach several thousand corruption levels will still be incredibly powerful builds relative to the other builds that are out there, but I would not aspire to being able to reach several thousand corruption anymore. Note to self, I cannot survive that attack. No matter how much I think I can. Out of there, guys.
This hate, this despair, oblivion burns within you.
Yeah, we're gonna be a little bit quiet because Mike's going to try and focus and not die. Mike's void res is 7. I hit space to evade again. It's my thumb is just like, yeah, evade. You got it, evade. Nope. Oh. I think we should do. I'm like, let's just go back and try again. Let's get some void res under our belt and try again after that. Sound good? Yep. We gotta complete the campaign. Okay, we've got like 37 minutes left. Like, let's go finish the campaign. Yeah, fine. Probably had to walk back. I'm gonna do it. I want to beat the campaign here. Okay. What do you offer players for each year of them owning and playing the game? For example, happy game birthday. Here's your 5,000 gold. We don't have anything like that right now. I mean, it's a cool idea. I don't know. I could see there being some sort of like cosmetic that went with that, but we don't have anything like that. I think there's a danger in doing something like that, because as soon as you have things where it's like it's impossible to get this thing anymore because it's been like the game's been out for 10 years and like the 10th birthday prize is this. You know, it doesn't really work too well for like new players just being locked out of things, and it's cool to get prizes and things like that. I think if we were gonna do, we don't really like that plan right now, but I do like the idea. And if we were to do something like that, I would advocate for it being, I don't know why I just went around in a circle, more of a like, this is what we've been doing to teach our kid how to poop. If you get like a box of prizes and you say like hey, you can like here's your birthday prize, and it's you can pick one of these 5 things for your birthday prize. I think that's the better way to do it, so that there's like a new player could come in and get any one of the birthday prizes on their first year or something like that. So like somebody who's been around forever has all of them type thing. So there's one that's really exciting for someone, they can still get it. They're not locked out of it, waiting for 10 years to get the one that they really want. Our gear's like basically the same as last time we came to try this, so like I don't know why I'm expecting this to be so much easier. Not like almost nothing has changed.
Perfection cannot be bested.
Not sure if this was asked, but are there any plans to add more refined criteria to the loot filter system? We do have some plans for improving the loot filter. They're probably not all of the things you're hoping for if you're asking this question, but we are expanding what it has access to, and then we're also working on some backend changes that will allow us to do some other things too. So there's some knock-on effects of some decisions we made previously for networking stack stuff that has to get changed before we can change something. Which I know sounds kind of weird. Sometimes you just like, well, it doesn't need to know this data, so you like lock it out. Recognize that weapon? Huh? Alright. Any plans to introduce a unique that makes meteor from fire to cold? I would say unlikely, but possible. Usually cold meteor is called comet, right?
Orvis, aid me. Nothing can stop me. Nothing.
Don't stop me now.
Crying out in despair. However the void came here, I must drive it back.
There's a I can't remember what show it was on. There's some British show. They're miming out. I think it was a British show. Miming out the song, like they mime out songs in dance to people who got headphones on and try and guess what song it is. That one was fantastic.
What do you think?
Like any frostbite build is required to use shackles plus snowdrift, which is just boring. I see what you're saying. There are things we do trying to increase the diversity there.
To be your sacrifice.
Disgraceful.
Is it possible to download a sound file of Zarek dying? I don't think so. It might be buried in the game file somewhere. I don't know if it's extractable or not. How many hours played do you have on Last Epoch according to Steam? This is a tricky one because it is basically just what I've played on stream, because when we're playing on our like in the editor and in test builds and things like that, it tracks it on a different counter. But right now it is sitting at an embarrassingly low.
Out of my mind.
1,100 or 1,012. Which, if you divide that by 2, is that the number of streams I've done? No, it's not. You met Ted, have you considered something like the amount of ward the boss gains is directly tied to how long it took to get them to the breakpoint? So you don't punish lower damaging builds. For example, if you took 1 second to get there from the breakpoint, it fills 100% of the ward bar. If you took 5 seconds to get there from the breakpoint, it fills 50%. Yes, we have considered something like that. It adds another layer of like obfuscation of like what's happening in the mechanics. And part of what we're trying to do with this is have it be a little intuitive. So having that amount of ward that it gains be a static fixed amount is something that we are really interested in maintaining. Having the way that the ward decays does also already provide that little bit of a shift for like slower builds to catch up a little bit, because it starts to decay faster and faster as you go. So builds that take longer to get through the ward will have the ward just disappear on its own a little bit faster. Over.
No, get out of my mind.
Yay, did it! First try, no problem. Woohoo, it's over. There's your 2028 Christmas hat. Nice version of that. You can do it via the gifted item. You can do it via the gifted. Oh, my monitor that was blocking one of the letters. That's a bug. Little aggressive of a jump out of the way. See right there, like especially in like melee, we've been talking about the evade mechanic and the relative power of melee to range with the evade mechanic. And this fight is a perfect example of why I've been saying that melee is really good with evade, because that type of that cone attack especially, and the shape that cone attack has where you're standing, evade at melee is enough to get you out of it. But evade at range is not really enough to get you out of it, unless you're like really far away already. But like it's, as far as like a difference from what we have now to what we're getting with evade after the fact, I think it has a better moment-to-moment impact on your gameplay in a boss fight as a melee character.
You stop this sorcery.
This would be so much easier if you had died with her. No matter.
You think this is over?
Yeah, I do for now, but I'm coming for you.
Nothing of the power I've been given. Orobis showed me the way. All I needed was the
Nothing of the power I have
and
taken.
you brought it right to me. The power of the epoch is mine.
Alright, you can do it via the gifted item icon and just give every new player all the old gifts too. Oh, I see what you're saying. After all, after all, they too can manipulate time. Ah, that's nice. I see what you're saying. More of like the first birthday of Last Epoch, we give something to all the players, and the second birthday of Last Epoch, we give something to all the players. Not like how long has this player been in. Yeah, I really like that idea too. Huge big thanks to whoever stole the Civilopedia from Civ to make an in-game guide from an RPG. Here's my Civ 6 playtime. Civ 5. Civ 5's got to be on here too, isn't it? What's under Sid? Not Civ, Sid. It's my Civ 5 playtime. Oh, apparently I didn't ever play Civ 4 on Steam. They're all in here.
Welcome back.
You're welcome.
No, farewell, traveler, and good luck.
It's been a while since I played. So it's been January 7th was the last time I played it. Actually, oof. Gotta get another game soon. I'm too busy.
Oh, yes.
There's gonna be this space feels oddly empty to me right now. Just saying. All right, there's a belt that summons meteor. Yes, there is. Any plans to have more of the belts that similar like the belt that summons static orb? This is the belt you're talking about right here. Haha, I just found one. Yeah, there's items that trigger abilities. People love those items. They're some of the most like build enabling items out there. People are big fans of them. We're gonna keep doing them. We're trying to do them in different ways too. Have like a little bit more creative ways of doing it. I think is gonna be positive as well. That's unfortunate. Get some stability back. I don't remember if this was in your roadmap, but are there any plans to release skill MTXs in the near future? 1.1 specifically will not have skill MTX, I can tell you that much. We have started kind of working on the system. It's still, we have none internally still. We don't even, like the system to even make it function doesn't exist internally yet. So early days on that. Yeah, Void Rush Shard. We should probably put that on something. Kudos on the launch of the game. Thank you. Was great. Timing of Harbingers for me is bad. First Descendant, once human. Last Epoch is the best RPG on the market. IMO. Well, thank you. Who would win in a PvP match? Ichi, Kane, or you? I don't think we've ever had one, so it's hard to say. But like, I feel like everyone knows my kryptonite, and I have no idea what his is. So, I mean, I'd probably take some sort of like AOE build. I had it muted. I'm sorry. There we are. Finish those off. Emerald 91. It's a full year. That's the year. Oh my god. You're doing fantastic. A lot of water. Still gotta get to 20 minutes. Inquiring minds want to know, on a more serious note, sorry if this was asked before, that's okay. How will evade work? Will it have an iframe during the roll to avoid damage, or can we still take damage while evading, such as AoE skills from boss/mobs? Yes, I stumbled through that and replaced some words. Evade will not have any iframes. Evade is a repositioning ability. It does not make you invulnerable. You can take damage from hits. You can take damage from AoE effects. You just move a little differently. There's a full detail post up on our forums. It's like a comment of something else, actually. But it's linked in the top of the post, and it's you can search comments by me, and you'll find it. Ichi Mike. Last question from me. Will Rive get a new... Oh, there's also a post that just went up on our Reddit. Someone was compiling things that we've previously spoiled for 1.1, and it was in there as well. Right, last question from me. Will Rive get a node that give it the void tag? I don't think so this patch. I don't remember. But I try not to get into specifics on stuff here, so I don't know. I'm gonna give you I don't know, but I don't think so. Alright, how's our stability? We've got enough. How's our void res? We don't have enough. We're going to try and convert some of these res into void a little bit before taking this on, I think. King just about just saying me. I'd bring some stuff to get rid of all your minions, and you'd bring Avalanche, and we'd see who'd won. Buff scroll, please. It's pretty strong. If you like Civ, have you played Age of Wonders 4 yet? It's amazing. I have. It didn't click for me. I only gave it a couple rounds. It didn't quite click for me. I'm not sure what was wrong. But as a huge Civ and Heroes of Might and Magic fan, I was like, I'm in. Let's do this. It just missed for me. I don't know. I have plans to go back to it though. It's on my list. Looked great. Had some cool mechanics. I think there's probably a fantastic game lurking just beneath the surface I didn't quite get to. That's what I think. When are we getting more Minimus Love? I still want. I don't know why I haven't done this yet. I still really want to have like a pet the dog animation, just like I don't know, something when you walk up near it and do something, it pets it. I think it's the. I take it back about the weapon swap thing. It's pet the dog. That's what I'd add. Is Zuriel's Hunt unique quiver getting fixed for 1.1? I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with it. We're working to fix any bug that's been reported. So if you don't know if it's been reported or not, report it, and we'll fix it. Okay, what are we gonna do to fix our gear? I have a feeling it's something around these boots, because these boots are really not synergizing with our build. The minions hasten frenzy is nice, but we do give our minions frenzy already. So I think we're going to take these boots off and replace them. Question is, with what though? Try not to spend too much time looking here. Do want something with void res on it. We want some boots with void res. That's our big thing. If they can have some strength, that would be wonderful too. Can't use those yet. A lot of fizz res. That could have void res put on them. Yeah. We don't have a lot of awesome boots laying around, do we? We might be able to convert those into something good. Do a little wee bit of craft in here. That's almost interesting. Might be able to make those into something good. Might be able to make those bases are not what we want. And we're gonna get into things that weren't made for us. Gotta finish our idle stuff too. we can roll with what we got. Can we convert this Fizz Res to something we like? No, we can't. Can we convert this Fizz Res to something we like? I.e. Void Res. We cannot. Can we convert this Fizz Res to something we like? I.e. Void Res. No, we cannot. Well, I just want Void Res on some boots. Don't care what it replaces at this point. Oh my god. Okay. Just some Void Res on some boots, please. Any boots. Oh, you know what we should be. Oh, we don't need. We can't seal anything. Boots can have Void Res, right? Am I crazy? Okay, that moment where you're like, uh-oh, am I just wasting time? Don't care. I don't even care what else it has. We need Void Res so bad. That was insane. I don't think I've ever seen, like... Maybe I'm just, like, way overly lucky. Do you know if there's a fix incoming for the font generation at lower resolution? Not specifically. If you're below 1600 by 900, there's gonna probably be some weird issues like that that crop up. We'll just stand in that and see how bad it hurts now. I'm sure I'll make a mistake though at some point. Did not have to wait long for that. Get back up, Scorpy.
This hate, this despair, oblivion burns within me. This world earns it. Do you deny it? My shadow will cover this world once more. My vengeance will be paid in ash.
I'm sorry if I'm missing a bunch of questions in chat.
This hate,
I am
this despair,
not overly confident in my ability to complete this with this build right now.
this world earned its rule. Do you deny it?
Get out of there, get out of there. Don't die in the fire, please. I can resurrect you outside of the fire.
Cover this world once more. Pathetic. My vengeance.
Here we go. Oh, that was a big chunk of damage. That was close. Hit roll again to get out of the way.
This hate,
Fade.
this despair, oblivion burns within me. Do you think my defeat changes anything?
Oh,
This world
we got there.
is already dead.
We got there. Tread Void Rest on it. Here's Leech Rate. Yeah, these are not Hey, we have some leech. Dog ring's just nothing for us. Ooh, a 1 LP. Don't mind if I do. It's never the build, it's always the pilot. Ouch! Yeah, you're right, but yeah. Look on, I'm coming for ya. So what do people think? Shock and awe from the boss DR removed, replaced with boss ward. Excited, scared, happy, angry. Oh, there's one. I have a question about Forge Guard. I didn't feel it was any different in 1.0 versus early access of Last Epoch. It still felt like it was very heavily minion dependent. One thing I was thinking about and provided in game feedback about was give us the ability to make it not as minion dependent. Sometimes by floating swords we get stuck on obstacles and had to spawn more floating swords to do proper damage. Didn't feel good. No need to go into details. Just curious. I mean, there's like there are still minion heavy Forge Guards and not minion heavy Forge Guards. Like there's both those are still very much a thing. Like the specific damage numbers might have been less than you were hoping for. But like it should still be possible to make a non-minion based Forge Guard in 1.1. Like that's not going away. It's not like a focused minion class. It's probably the most minion-y class of the Sentinels. But it's not a minion primary class like Beastmaster and Necromancer. So you're not like, I guess what I mean by minion primary is you're not we try not to make the primary affix you're looking for as minion damage to increase your damage with that. So we try to make it so that there's ways for you to build like Forge Guard really cares about having like damage that they can build themselves that transfer to their minions. Like I guess thematically it's why it's a little bit more removed as a minion class, and why I don't view it as a strict minion class like I would a Necromancer or a Beastmaster. Alright, what is the chance for us to get an infographic related to Guild? Oh, just factions in general. I see what you're saying. For example, how many characters are tagged Merchant's Guild versus COF? How many items are untagged versus tagged? How is player retention to MG versus COF, etc. I mean, there's some things there that we don't have, but there's a couple things we do. I don't know. That's something that we can ask the marketing team. Ooh. You guys still planning on more cosmetics? Yeah, we're still planning on more cosmetics. 2 of the new ones will be Twitch drops for free just after the patch launch. Oh, that hurts. It is so hot in my office. It's like we're starting to get into that time of year where like I do a stream and like afterwards I gotta turn the computer off for a little bit just to like cool this place down almost. I feel like this light as well is quite hot. I don't know. Maybe it's just in my head. Master Sword, 1291 for 38 months in a row. That's insane. All y'all over 3 years is just nutty. I love it. Thank you very much. So happy to have you with us. Alright, is there any way to make gold useful for pure COF players? I mean, the dungeon, the gold Vaults of Uncertain Fate dungeon is quite useful. I recommend checking it out. If you got gold burning a hole in your pocket, that's what it was for before that, all of this. Any plans to beef up Shaman's Storm Totem? Visually, I love the ability / totem, but it feels kind of lame numbers wise. I mean, I don't, as always, I don't have any details on specific balance changes that are coming. I just don't know what the numbers are off the top of my head, and the chances of me saying something that's like close but just wrong enough that people get excited or disappointed ahead of time unduly is extremely high. So I really don't want to artificially inflate or deflate someone's expectations on this. But the masteries and the builds that were fun but low power are exactly the type of things that we target for buffs in general. Just from a like design standpoint. When someone's like, this was really fun, I really enjoyed it, when I played it I felt cool, but when I got to like super endgame content and I was trying to push, it felt lacking. And you know, like that type of feedback is the type of feedback that gets us to look at the class to see how we want to address that. When I played X, I felt Y. Without spoilers of the exact class type, how many future classes will have minions / companions? I have no idea. Several? Minions are a really popular thing to put into games like this. Like, people love minions. It is, I don't know the exact breakdown, but I would guess it is as like an overall archetype. If we're gonna like put something like really broad categories like melee, caster, ranged, like bows type thing, and like minions. If we're gonna put something like that broad of a category, I think minions is probably the #1 category that we've seen. Like even times when there's like no new content for the class, Necromancer still really performs well. Just no matter what, it's and like it, I think that's one of those things that like we have hard evidence that it's something that our community really likes, and we try to give our community more of what they really like, you know? Hey, boss. When we will receive some in-game content? Because those we have now is ultra boring. July 9th. Hello there. I'd like to ask if there are any options open regarding traversal skills to not share their cooldowns, unique items, or any skill modification. I have Falcon around the mind. You cannot use shits and airless altogether. I'd say it's very low probability that we would do that. It's a pretty hard like balance restriction that causes that to be needed, and you know, if you put aerial assault and shift in the same character, like aerial assault and shift specifically are the reason why, one of the main reasons why this is like this, because it gets ridiculous, and it enables gameplay that we're not really interested in. So, like, very low probability. Oh my goodness. I will resurrect this scorpion. I did it! Oof. We're starting to get outclassed a little bit. Any plans to play Elden Ring DLC this weekend? I do not, mostly because I'm going to a bachelor party this weekend. We're gonna play Magic cards and have a barbecue. I'm gonna set a tent in my buddy's backyard. I mean, great. Yeah. I'll play it next weekend. Or the weekend after. Like, not this weekend, but next weekend. Just a generic question, but I assume the team is looking into rebalancing survivability options. Less wardy, more HP. Yeah, I think the short version of this, we talked about this a little bit, but the short version is probably, we're over time here, so really short version. Yes, less wardy, more HP. Broadly speaking, yes, but I think it's like the sources of wardy things and how powerful those are, and the sources of HPE things and how powerful those are. Because right now, where those power thresholds kick in is so different because where they come from, be it skills, passives, or equipment. So you know, we're still working on. That's one of the places we're really targeting is the relative balance on the character progression curve. Didn't die. This is the problem I have. Every time I'm like something intense situation, I just like my entire brain just stops talking, and I'm like, I'm not gonna die. I can't die. Just a generic question, but I assume the team is looking into rebalancing. Oh, yeah, I already answered that. Which cycle will have the barbarian mastery? Well, in the hypothetical scenario where we eventually maybe include a barbarian mastery, I don't know, man. Is there any plans for allowing more channeling skills to move while channeling? Yeah, I think that's a astute observation onto the issues in channeling and relative to the channeling abilities that compared to the channeling abilities that don't work and the ones that do. Thank you for answering. You're welcome. I don't remember which question it was. I'm sorry. Did I miss it? Or you skipped my question? Oh, I must have missed it. I'm sorry, Heavy. We're gonna end this on a death. I can feel it. And I will answer your question as soon as I die. Oh my god. Oh, there we go. Had to happen. It's okay. Alright. Heavy, I'm sorry, I don't see the question. I see a bunch of other comments. There it is. Any chance for a void grub pet? I want one to hug Pet and cuddle, they're adorable. Oh, like an MTX pet. I can see that. I love getting enemies as pets. That theme I'm a big fan of in general. So I don't think that's off the table. I don't know anything though. So hopefully, I'm gonna say hopefully. All right, and on that, I think it's time we just wrap this up. I hope you had fun. I know I did. I'll be back same time, same place next week. If I did not answer your question, I'm sorry. It was not intentional. Please head on over to our Discord if you'd like, and I'll be happy to answer it there. Otherwise, have fun. See you next time. Let's see if there's someone having some fun we can go say hi to. Oh, I think it's been a while since we've... Oh, here's someone new. Here's someone new! Or maybe not new, but someone I don't recognize, and I'm sorry if you've been around here a lot and I just don't recognize. We're gonna come say hi. Oh, it's labeled as mature audiences. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to do those. Drink lots of water, have fun, see you next time. You've been wonderful.